As the years passed, the 7 brothers became skilled hunters and warriors. One day, eager for adventure, they decided to embark on a hunting expedition. Damian wanted to go, but his brothers didn't want him in. However, on the insistence of their parents, they reluctantly took him along. They journeyed through dense forests, crossed mighty rivers, and spent their nights around roaring campfires, sharing stories and laughter. One fateful evening, as they roamed deeper into the wilderness, a fierce storm overtook them. They lost their supplies and were forced to seek shelter in a dark cave. When the storm subsided, they set out in search of food and warmth. In the distance, they spotted a faint light and hurried toward it. Before them stood a grand cottage, its windows glowing with firelight, and the scent of food drifting from within. The youngest prince knocked on the door. A beautiful young maiden answered. Seeing their weary faces, she took pity on them and invited them inside. She lived there with her mother and 6 sisters. The mother, at first, was reluctant, but after some thought, she served them a feast and offered them warm beds. Exhausted from their journey, the princes quickly fell into a deep slumber, except for Damian. Restless, he peeked out of the room and witnessed something horrifying. The old woman transformed into a hideous witch, sharpening her knives and whispering to herself. 7 fine young men, what a feast they shall make. Their flesh will sustain us through the winter. A chill ran down the young prince's spine, but he did not panic. Instead, he hatched a plan. Stepping out of his room, he said playfully, "Hey, old lady, what ya fake? Little Dammy is awake." The witch froze, startled. Masking her intentions, she forced a smile. "Why, dear boy, why aren't you asleep? What do you need?" "Water," he replied innocently. The witch fetched him a cup of water, and he pretended to drink it before lying back down. Half an hour later, he woke again and sang, "Hey, old lady, what ya fake? Little Dammy is awake." The witch's patience wore thin. "What now?" she hissed. "I want water from the well outside," he said. The witch grumbled but went to fetch it, giving him the time he needed. Once more, after another half hour, he sang again, "Hey, old lady, what ya fake? Little Dammy is awake." This time, enraged, she snapped, "What now, you tiny pest?" "I want water from the river," he said. Though fuming, the witch had no choice but to go. As soon as she left, the youngest prince acted swiftly. He switched his brothers' beds with the beds of the 7 sisters. When the old woman returned, she thought he had finally fallen asleep and went to the guest room. Believing the sleeping figures were the princes, she mercilessly killed them one by one. At dawn, when the witch awoke and saw what she had done, she let out a blood-curdling scream. She had killed her own daughters instead of the princes. Meanwhile, the youngest prince had already woken his brothers, and they fled the cottage. When they arrived at the palace and recounted their tale, King Eric and Queen Lasara were horrified yet relieved at their safe return. The youngest prince was hailed as the cleverest and resourceful of them all. The brothers now realized their mistake and all acknowledged Damian's wit and courage. From that day forward, the young prince was admired not for his size, but for his wisdom and valor. And so, the kingdom thrived in peace, forever blessed by the wisdom and bravery of the smallest prince.